Imagine living each day with a calm mind, steady emotions, and the strength to face whatever comes your way. But be honest, how many times have you let anger, fear, or sadness control you? How many times have you reacted without thinking, only to regret it later? The truth is simple. When you are not in control of your emotions control you. And when that happens, you are no longer free. You become a slave to every passing mood. Today, you are going to learn how to break free from that cycle. You are going to discover 12 Stoic lessons that will teach you how to master yourself, stay calm under pressure, and stop being dragged around by feelings you cannot trust. These are not just theories. They are timeless tools used by some of the strongest minds in history to live with peace, clarity, and strength. So get ready, because after this video, you will never look at your emotions the same way again. Before we start, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Write in the comments. This is not just a phrase, it is a declaration. Every time you write it, every time you repeat it, you are training your mind to take back control. So write it now, and let's begin. I master my emotions. Lesson 1. Control your response, not events. You don't control the world. You don't control the words that come out of someone else's mouth, the sudden turn of fortune, the storms that crash down on your plans, or the countless twists life throws at you. You can fight against this truth, but you will always lose. The world will not bend to your will. But there is one thing, one precious, unshakable thing that is always yours to command: your response. Think about it carefully. The same event can break one person but build another. A failure destroys one man but becomes the foundation for another man's greatest success. A harsh insult crushes one spirit but teaches another to rise above the noise. What makes the difference? Not the event, never the event. It is the response. When something bad happens, you stand at a crossroads. Two paths. On one path, you give in to emotion. You let anger drive you. You let fear control you. You drown in self-pity. On that path, you are no longer free. You are a slave. On the other path, you pause. You breathe. You choose. You act with clarity, not impulse. On that path, you remain free. Which road will you walk? Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, faced betrayal, war, and plague. He could not control the madness of the world around him. But in his private writings, he reminded himself every day, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not just philosophy, it is survival. Your first reaction may not always be calm. That's normal. You are human. But remember, a feeling is not a command. You don't have to obey it. Anger may rise, but you don't need to act on it. Fear may whisper, but you don't need to listen. Pain may hurt, but you don't need to let it poison your will. Between stimulus and response lies freedom. That space, small as it may be, is your kingdom. Guard it well. Look back at your own life. How many times did you regret your reaction more than the event itself? The argument that ruined a relationship, the panic that closed doors, the bitterness that stole your peace long after the problem had passed. The event was not the true enemy. Your response was. And once you see this, you can change it. Start small. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of exploding, smile and say, "I control myself." When the weather ruins your plans, don't complain, adapt, and remind yourself, The sky doesn't belong to me, but my attitude does. When life hurts you deeply, whisper to yourself, this pain is outside my control. What I do with it is mine. Slowly, with practice, you will feel the shift. You will no longer be tossed like a slave by every insult, every inconvenience, every setback. You will stand steady. People will notice. They will wonder, how do you remain calm when others collapse? The answer is simple. Because you no longer try to control the uncontrollable. You control only what is yours. So tomorrow, when life tests you, remember this truth. You cannot control events. You can only control your response. And that is enough. That is freedom. That is power. Say it with me now. I am the master of my response. Repeat it until it becomes part of you. Because when it does, no storm, no insult, no loss will ever own you again. That is Stoicism. That is strength. That is how you stop being a slave to your emotions. Lesson 2. Separate facts from opinions. Most of the pain in your life does not come from reality itself. It comes from the story you tell yourself about reality. Something happens, and instead of seeing it as it is, you add layers of judgment, fear, and meaning. A simple fact becomes a heavy burden, not because the fact is unbearable, but because your opinion about it is. The Stoics warned about this over and over again. Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about things." Think about that for a moment. Events themselves are neutral. They are facts. They carry no good or bad, no blessing or curse. But the moment you attach an opinion, you turn them into pain, or fear, or despair. Let me give you an example. It rains on the day of your outdoor plans. That is a fact. Just water falling from the sky. But what do most people say? This is terrible. My day is ruined. That is not fact. That is opinion. The fact is simple. It is raining. Your judgment, ruined, unfair, terrible, is the weight you put on it. Another example. You lose your job. That is a fact. The paycheck stops. The position is gone. But your mind rushes in with opinions. I'm worthless. I'll never succeed. This is the end. None of that is true. Those are opinions. The fact is only this. You no longer work at that job. How you choose to interpret it determines whether you sink into despair or rise with new purpose. When someone insults you, that too is just sound, just words leaving another person's mouth. That is the fact. The insult only has power when you add the opinion, this hurts me, this defines me, this must be true. But why should another person's anger or ignorance shape your soul? Separate the fact, mere words, from the opinion, your choice to take it personally. Marcus Aurelius practiced this discipline constantly. In his meditations he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Read that again. The power is always yours. You can revoke the opinion, strip the event down to its raw fact, and suddenly the weight disappears. Here's how to practice this. When something upsets you, stop and ask, what is the fact here? What actually happened? Write it down if you must. Make it simple. No judgment, no extra words. Then, next to it, write what your opinion about it is. You will quickly see the difference. Most of your suffering lives not in the fact column, but in the opinion column. For example, fact. The project deadline was moved forward. Opinion. This is impossible. I can't handle this. They're trying to ruin me. Do you see it? The fact is hard, yes, but not unbearable. The opinion is what breaks you. This practice is like pulling weeds from a garden. If you don't remove the weeds, your opinions, they choke the life out of everything. But once you clear them, you can see the ground as it is, and you can act with clarity. The truth is, facts rarely destroy us. Life gives us problems, challenges, setbacks, but these are just events, just reality unfolding. What destroys us is our imagination, our exaggeration, our judgments layered on top of reality. We build a prison of opinions and then wonder why we feel trapped. So, free yourself. Train your mind every day to see things as they are. Rain is rain. A loss is a loss. A word is a word. Nothing more. Once you strip away the opinions, what remains is lighter, clearer, easier to carry. Does this mean you never judge anything? No, it means you wait, you pause, you make sure your judgment serves you, not enslaves you. Use opinions as tools, not as chains. For example, you may say, "This challenge is an opportunity to grow." That is an opinion too, but one that strengthens you instead of weakening you. Remember this, the facts of life are not in your control. They will come, one after another, without mercy, without pause. But your opinions are in your control. You choose whether to poison yourself with them or to free yourself by seeing clearly. So when life hits you, ask, am I looking at the fact, or am I drowning in opinion? And if it is opinion, drop it, cut it away, return to the simple fact. From there, act with calm. Repeat these words to yourself. This is just a fact. My opinion is optional. Make it your shield. Make it your habit. Because once you master this, you will no longer be dragged by every thought, every fear, every judgment. You will walk with clarity. This is the second Stoic lesson. Separate facts from opinions. See the world as it is, not as your emotions paint it. And in that clear vision, you will find freedom. Lesson 3. Pause before reacting. Most people live like slaves to their first impulse. Something happens, and before they even think, they explode in anger, drown in fear, or sink into despair. A word spoken against them, a mistake, a setback, and instantly they lash out, complain, or break down. But tell me, what good ever came from a reaction without thought? How many times have you regretted what you said in anger? How many times have you wished you had stayed calm, wished you had waited just a moment longer before acting? The Stoics knew this truth. The gap between event and reaction is where your freedom lives. That pause, small as it may be, is the difference between wisdom and regret, between strength and weakness, between control and slavery. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Think about that. He didn't say the greatest remedy is revenge. He didn't say the greatest remedy is shouting or punishing or striking back. He said the greatest remedy is time, just a pause, just a moment to let reason catch up to passion. Here is the reality. Emotions come fast, but wisdom comes slow. Anger rises like fire, fear spreads like smoke, sadness pulls like a tide. They move quickly, almost faster than thought. But if you can hold yourself still for even a breath, you give your reason, the best part of you, the chance to take the lead. Imagine this. Someone insults you. Your first impulse is to hit back with words, maybe even with fists. But you pause, you breathe. You remember, this is only noise. These words cannot define me unless I give them power. The fire cools, the storm passes, and you remain calm, unharmed, while the other person shows only their own weakness. Or imagine this: you receive bad news. Fear rises in your chest. Your heart races. You want to panic, but you pause. You say to yourself, "Is this truly as bad as my fear tells me? What is within my control right now?" By waiting, by pausing, you take back command of your mind. Instead of drowning in fear, you face the problem with clarity. This pause does not need to be long. Sometimes all it takes is a breath, a silent count to 3, a moment of stillness before the storm sweeps you away. That small pause is your shield. Without it, you are at the mercy of every passing emotion. With it, you are master of yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If you are troubled by something external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it, and this judgment you can delay." He is telling you, don't let your mind rush to judgment. Don't let your emotions push you into action before reason has spoken. Delay, and you will see more clearly. But you may say, "I can't help it. My reactions are automatic." That is true right now. But just as a soldier trains his body to obey commands, you can train your mind to obey discipline. Start small. When you feel anger rise, pause before you speak. When fear surges, pause before you run. When sadness comes, pause before you sink. Train yourself to create space. Train yourself to hold still. This does not mean you never act. It means when you act, you do so with control, with clarity, with strength. A man who pauses is not weak. He is powerful because he chooses his actions instead of being dragged by impulse. Think of the archer. If he fires too quickly, the arrow misses the mark. But if he pauses, takes aim, breathes, and then releases, the arrow flies true. Your life is the same. Without pause, your actions miss the mark. With pause, you hit the target. So, the next time life provokes you, remember this: you are not a slave to the first impulse. You have the power to pause. And in that pause lies wisdom, peace, and strength. Say it with me now. I pause before I react. Make it a command to yourself. Make it a habit. Because once you master this pause, you master yourself. And once you master yourself, no insult, no fear, no challenge can ever control you again. This is the third Stoic lesson. Pause before reacting. In the silence between event and response, you will find your freedom. Lesson 4. Expect life's challenges. Too many people walk through life surprised by hardship, as if pain were some kind of mistake, as if suffering were unfair, as if challenges were accidents. But the truth is this: life was never meant to be easy. Struggle is not the exception, it is the rule. The Stoics knew this, and that is why they trained themselves to expect challenges before they arrived. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, began his mornings with this reminder: "Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Imagine that. The most powerful man in the world began each day expecting difficulty, not ease. Why? Because when you expect challenges, you are never surprised by them. And when you are not surprised, you cannot be broken. Look at how most people react to hardship. They complain, "Why me? Why now? Life is unfair." They treat pain as if it were some injustice. But think, has there ever been a life without struggle? Has there ever been a man or woman who escaped suffering? No. Every life is marked by trials. Every soul is tested. To expect otherwise is to live in illusion. The Stoics teach us to do the opposite. Do not hope for a life without storms. Train yourself to stand firm when storms come. Do not pray for an easy path. Pray for strength to walk the hard one. Do not beg for comfort. Prepare for hardship. In this way, you are never caught off guard. Imagine the soldier who trains for war. He does not wake up shocked when the battle begins. He expected it. He prepared for it. That is why he survives. Life is the same. Every day is a battlefield. Every day will bring obstacles, pain, resistance. If you wake expecting peace, you will be crushed. But if you wake expecting challenge, you will be ready. This practice is called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. The Stoics would sit quietly and imagine all the hardships that might come: illness, loss, betrayal, insult, failure. They did this not to frighten themselves, but to prepare. Because once you have faced the worst in your mind, the reality cannot destroy you. You are ready. Think about your own life. How many times have you been blindsided by something you could have expected? You lose money, and you panic. But money has always been uncertain. You face betrayal, and you collapse. But people have always been weak. You grow old, and you despair. But age has always been certain. Why should these things surprise you? Did you think you would be the first human spared from them? The Stoic does not curse hardship. He nods when it arrives and says, "I knew you were coming. I trained for you." That is strength. That is freedom. But here is the beauty. When you expect challenges, they lose their sting. If you know that people will sometimes disappoint you, then when they do, you are calm. If you know that plans will sometimes fail, then when they do, you adapt. If you know that death will one day come, then instead of wasting life in denial, you live fully, here and now. So train yourself each morning. Before the day begins, remind yourself, I will face obstacles, I will face pain, I will face resistance. Say it not with fear, but with calm, because when you expect it, you are ready for it, and when you are ready, no challenge can break you. Seneca wrote, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." Remember this: the blow you see coming hurts less than the one that catches you off guard. Expect the blow. Prepare for it. Then, when it comes, you will stand tall. So tomorrow, when difficulty shows up at your door, do not say, "Why me?" Say instead, "I knew you would come. I was waiting for you." And then face it with calm, with courage, with strength. Repeat these words until they are carved into your mind. I expect life's challenges. I am ready for them. This is the fourth Stoic lesson. Expect life's challenges. Do not hope for an easy life. Prepare for a strong one. In this way, you will never be surprised, and you will never be defeated. Lesson 5. Focus on what's in your control. Every day, you waste energy fighting battles you cannot win. You worry about the weather, the opinions of strangers, the outcome of events already beyond your reach. You complain about traffic, about the past, about things you cannot move with all the strength in the world. And every time you do this, you weaken yourself, you scatter your focus, you hand over your peace to things that were never yours to command. The Stoics give us a clear dividing line. On one side, what is in your control. On the other, what is not. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your effort, These belong to you. The rest, the future, luck, the words and actions of others, these do not. If you live chasing what is not yours, you will always be restless, always be disappointed, always be enslaved. But if you focus only on what is yours, you will stand firm no matter what storms rage around you. Epictetus, who was born into slavery, understood this better than most. He said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Think about that. A man who owned nothing still held total freedom because his mind, his choices, his character, those were his, untouchable by chains. His master could beat his body, but could not command his will. That is power. So ask yourself, where do you spend your energy? Do you spend it trying to control the uncontrollable? Other people's opinions, outcomes, accidents, fate? Or do you spend it strengthening what is yours? Your habits, your thoughts, your discipline? The answer will decide the quality of your life. Look at your daily frustrations. Someone insults you. You cannot control their mouth, but you can control your response. Calm, silence, or strength. A plan fails. You cannot control the outcome, but you can control how you adapt, how you carry on, how you learn from it. A storm ruins your day. You cannot command the sky, but you can command your attitude. Will you whine and curse, or will you smile and adjust? This is the test, and most people fail it daily because they live in the wrong column. They try to own what was never theirs. They beg the world to bend, but the world does not bend. What bends, what breaks, is them. The wise man does not waste himself this way. He knows where the boundary lies. He says, "This is not mine. Let it go." And then he turns inward to what is his. He polishes his character. He sharpens his will. He strengthens his actions. He rules his own kingdom, the only kingdom that can never be stolen from him. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line is your shield. Memorize it. Live by it. But you may ask, if I only control myself, does that mean I do nothing about the world? No. It means you do what is in your power, and you accept what is not. You plant the seed. You cannot control the rain. You do the work. You cannot control the results. You speak the truth. You cannot control whether others listen. But in each case you remain free, because you did what was yours to do. Freedom is not found in controlling the world. Freedom is found in controlling yourself. Once you master this, you can walk through chaos untouched. Others may scream, curse, panic, but you will be calm, because you know the difference between what is yours and what is not. So from this day forward, draw the line in your mind. Each time worry rises, ask, "Is this in my control?" If yes, act with strength. If no, release it. Do not waste another moment on chains that were never yours to carry. Repeat this until it becomes part of you. I focus only on what is in my control. Say it when you wake. Say it when you are tested. Say it when the world feels heavy. Because when you live this way, the weight of the world falls away, and only the weight of your choices remains. And that, my friend, is a weight you were built to carry. This is the 5th Stoic lesson. Focus on what's in your control. In that focus, you will find strength, peace, and freedom. Lesson 6. Treat emotions as signals, not commands. Emotions arrive fast, like sudden storms. Anger flares up in an instant. Fear creeps in without warning. Sadness pulls you down when you least expect it. These feelings are part of being human. You cannot stop them from rising. But here is where most people fall. They mistake emotions for orders. They feel anger and immediately lash out. They feel fear and immediately run. They feel sadness and immediately give up. They obey emotions as if emotions were kings. But the truth is simple. Emotions are signals, not commands. Think about it. When your body feels pain, it signals that something is wrong. You don't always obey it blindly. You don't quit walking forever just because your feet hurt after a long day. You understand. This is information, not an order. In the same way, anger, fear, sadness, and even joy are signals. They tell you something about the world, about your expectations, about your values. But they are not commands you must obey. Anger says, something feels unfair. Good. Listen to it. Maybe there is injustice. Maybe you need to speak up. But anger does not command you to shout or strike. It only signals that your sense of justice has been touched. You decide what to do with it. Fear says, there might be danger. Good. Listen to it. Maybe you need to prepare. Maybe you need caution. But fear does not command you to freeze, to run, to surrender. It only signals that something important is at risk. You decide how to face it. Sadness says, you lost something you value. Good. Feel it. Let it teach you what matters. But sadness does not command you to give up on life. It only signals that love and meaning once lived here. You decide how to honor it. The problem is not emotions themselves. The problem is obeying them blindly. A man who obeys every impulse is no man at all. He is a puppet, a slave pulled by strings he doesn't control. The Stoics refused to live this way. They did not try to kill emotions, but to understand them. To them, emotions were teachers. They listened, they learned, but they never bowed down to them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Things can't shape your mind unless you let them." Do you see? The emotion rises, but your judgment decides whether it controls you. Here's how to practice this. When an emotion rises, pause. Do not act immediately. Ask, what is this emotion trying to signal? What truth is hidden here? Once you see the signal, you can choose. You can act with reason, not reaction. For example, when anger comes, instead of exploding, ask, what value of mine feels attacked? How can I defend it with calm, with strength? When fear comes, instead of running, ask, is this danger real or just my imagination? How can I prepare wisely instead of panicking? When sadness comes, instead of sinking, ask, what did I lose? What did it mean to me? How can I honor it by living well? This shift changes everything. You stop being a slave. You stop being dragged. You stop living as if every emotion were a chain around your neck. Instead, emotions become guides, lights on the path, signals to pay attention. But you remain the one walking. You remain the master of your steps. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than necessary." Fear is often like this, an exaggerated signal that tries to trick you into suffering twice, once in imagination, once in reality. If you remember it is only a signal, you can calm it, question it, and act with courage instead. So do not despise your emotions. Do not fear them. Do not obey them. Treat them with respect. Let them speak, but never let them rule. Listen to them, but let reason decide. From this day forward, remind yourself in every moment of passion, this is a signal, not a command. Say it when anger rises, when fear creeps in, when sadness pulls at you. Repeat it until it becomes automatic. Then, slowly, you will see the change. You will still feel deeply, you are human, but you will no longer be controlled by what you feel. This is freedom. This is mastery. This is the Stoic way. This is the 6th Stoic lesson. Treat emotions as signals, not commands. Listen, learn, and then lead yourself. Because you are the master, not the slave. Lesson 7. Value virtue over happiness. Everyone chases happiness. They run after it in wealth, in pleasure, in recognition. They think, if I get this, if I achieve that, if I win their approval, then I'll be happy. But have you noticed? The more they chase, the further happiness runs away. They grasp it for a moment, but it slips through their fingers. Why? Because happiness is not something you can hold. It comes and goes like the weather. If you build your life on happiness, you build on sand. The Stoics taught something stronger. Do not aim for happiness. Aim for virtue. Live with wisdom, with courage, with justice, with self-control. Make virtue your foundation, and happiness will follow like a shadow. You may not always feel joy, but you will always feel strength. You may not always smile, but you will always know you lived rightly. And that is worth more than any fleeting emotion. Think of it this way. Happiness depends on conditions outside you. Health, wealth, comfort, luck. Virtue depends only on you. No one can take it away. A storm can destroy your home, but not your honesty. A tyrant can chain your body, but not your courage. Misfortune can strip your wealth, but not your justice. When you build on virtue, you build on rock. Seneca said, "The happy life is to be sought in virtue. Not in gold, not in fame, not in pleasure, because those things are temporary. They vanish as quickly as they appear. But virtue, living in line with reason, doing what is right, lasts as long as you breathe." Now, ask yourself, would you rather feel happy for a moment or live rightly for a lifetime? Would you rather chase pleasures that fade or build a character that stands firm? One road leads to slavery. You are always at the mercy of circumstances. The other leads to freedom. You carry your strength wherever you go. Look at the men and women who inspire you. Are they remembered because they were always happy? No. They are remembered because they were virtuous, because they stood for something, because they lived with courage, with justice, with wisdom, even when it cost them comfort, even when it cost them their lives. Happiness comes and goes. Virtue leaves a mark that outlives you. Does this mean happiness has no place? No. But happiness should be the byproduct, not the goal. Live with virtue, and you will find a deeper kind of happiness. Not the shallow joy of a good meal or a kind word, but the deep peace of knowing you did what was right. Even in suffering, even in loss, you will feel it, the calm of a clean conscience. So, how do you practice this? Each time you face a choice, ask not, "Will this make me happy?" Ask instead, "Is this virtuous? Is this just? Is this wise?" If the answer is yes, then do it, whether it feels good or not. If the answer is no, then avoid it, even if it promises pleasure. Let virtue be your compass, not comfort. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple words, but powerful. Happiness might tempt you to cheat, to lie, to cut corners for ease. Virtue tells you to stand firm, to act justly, even if it costs you. Choose virtue, because pleasure fades, but character remains. Remember this: the man who lives for happiness will always be disappointed, because life will not always give him what he wants. But the man who lives for virtue will never be defeated, because life cannot take away his integrity. So from this day forward, make this your law. I value virtue over happiness. Repeat it until it becomes your guide. Because once you do, you will stop chasing shadows, and you will build a life rooted in strength. And happiness, the real kind, the lasting kind, will come quietly, without effort, as a companion to virtue. This is the 7th Stoic lesson. Value virtue over happiness. Choose what is right, not what is easy. Build your life on virtue, and you will never be empty. Lesson 8. Practice negative visualization. Most people spend their lives wishing for more. More money, more comfort, more success, more pleasure. They imagine endless gains, but they never imagine loss. And because of this, when loss finally comes, as it always does, they are crushed, unprepared, broken. But the Stoics practiced something different, something powerful: negative visualization. What does this mean? It means taking time each day to imagine the things you value most being taken away. Imagine losing your job. Imagine losing your health. Imagine losing the people you love. Not to frighten yourself, not to sink into despair, but to prepare your mind. Because once you face loss in your imagination, reality can no longer surprise you. Seneca said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." In other words, the blow you expect hurts less than the one you never saw. If you rehearse hardship in your mind, you are stronger when it arrives. At first, this may sound dark. Why think about losing what you love? Why picture disaster? But here is the truth. Everything you have is temporary. Your possessions, your health, your relationships, your very life, all of it is borrowed, not owned. You can pretend otherwise, but pretending will not save you. The Stoic chooses honesty over illusion. By imagining loss, he learns to value the present and to face the future without fear. Think about this. When you wake up and see your loved ones, do you feel gratitude, or do you take them for granted? If you remind yourself, "One day I will not have them," suddenly you cherish them more deeply now. Every smile, every word, every moment becomes a gift. Negative visualization does not make you bitter. It makes you grateful. When you enjoy health, remind yourself, "This too can be taken." Then you will not waste it. You will use your body well, with discipline, with care. When fortune gives you success, remind yourself, "This is not forever." Then you will not grow arrogant. You will stay humble, grounded, prepared. This practice also kills fear. Most people live afraid of losing what they love. They cling so tightly that the thought of loss haunts them. But if you imagine it daily, the fear fades. You will say, "Yes, this could be taken, but I have already seen it in my mind. I am ready." Fear loses its grip when you have already walked through the worst in your imagination. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." By imagining death, he stripped away fear and focused on living well in the time he had. This is negative visualization at its core. Facing loss in your mind so you can live fully in reality. Here is how you can practice it. Each morning or night, close your eyes and picture something you value being gone. Feel it, really feel it. Then open your eyes and look at what you still have. You will see everything differently. The ordinary will shine. The small things will matter. Gratitude will replace boredom. Strength will replace fear. But remember, the goal is not to become cold or detached. The goal is to love more deeply, to appreciate more fully, to be prepared more firmly. When loss comes, and it will, you will not collapse. You will say, "I knew this was possible. I valued it while I had it. Now I face the next chapter with courage." Most people cry out when life takes something from them. "I didn't deserve this. I wasn't ready." But the Stoic does not say this. The Stoic whispers, "I always knew this was coming. I gave thanks while I had it, and now I stand ready to endure." So from today, begin this practice. Do not shy away from imagining loss. Let it sharpen you. Let it humble you. Let it remind you of the value of every passing moment. Say this to yourself: "Everything I have is borrowed. I cherish it now, and I am ready to let it go." Repeat it until it lives in you. Because once you live this truth, nothing can surprise you, nothing can crush you. You will walk through life grateful for every gift and unbroken by every loss. This is the 8th Stoic lesson. Practice negative visualization. Imagine loss so you can cherish more deeply, fear less strongly, and face life with unshakable strength. Lesson 9. Remember, everything is temporary. Look around you. Everything you see, everything you hold, everything you cling to, it will all fade. Your possessions will one day belong to someone else. Your body will one day grow weak and still. The faces you love will one day be gone. Even the greatest empires crumble, even the tallest mountains erode. Nothing lasts. Everything is temporary. At first, this may sound heavy, but to the Stoic, it is freedom. Why? Because when you accept the truth of impermanence, you stop grasping so tightly. You stop living in denial. You stop wasting your short time on earth, chasing things that cannot stay. You learn to love more fully, to let go more gracefully, to live more presently. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "All is ephemeral, fame and the famous as well." He was the most powerful man in the world, yet he reminded himself daily that both he and his empire were temporary. If a Roman emperor needed this reminder, how much more do you? Think of how much pain comes from forgetting this truth. You become attached to wealth, then despair when it slips away. You cling to youth, then suffer as age arrives. You chase glory, then rage when people forget your name. But none of this is a betrayal. None of this is unfair. It is the natural order of life. Everything rises, everything falls, everything begins, everything ends. So, what should you do? Embrace it. Live with the awareness that each moment is fleeting. When you see a friend, remember, this could be the last time. When you look in the mirror, remember, this face is changing even now. When you watch the sunset, remember, this moment will never return. Far from making life darker, this makes it brighter. The fragile becomes precious. The temporary becomes sacred. Seneca said, "Let us cherish things because we know they will not last." Do you understand? A flower is beautiful because it fades. A song is moving because it ends. A life is meaningful because it is short. If things were eternal, they would lose their power. It is their fragility that gives them weight. This is why the Stoics practiced constant reminders of death, not to be morbid, but to be awake. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Say it, not with fear, but with gratitude. Because once you accept that everything is temporary, you stop wasting time. You stop delaying life. You stop waiting for tomorrow, and you start living today. Ask yourself, how would you live if you truly remembered that nothing lasts? Would you spend hours in anger over small things? Would you waste days chasing shallow pleasures? Would you put off love, kindness, courage, because you thought you had endless time? Or would you speak what needs to be spoken, do what needs to be done, live as if each breath could be your last? That is the power of this lesson. Impermanence is not something to fear. It is something to honor. It is the reminder that this moment, this simple, ordinary moment, is a gift. You will not always have it. One day it will be gone, but you have it now. Use it well. So when joy comes, enjoy it deeply, knowing it will pass. When sorrow comes, endure it calmly, knowing it too will pass. When fortune smiles, do not cling. When fortune frowns, do not despair. Nothing stays forever, and because nothing stays forever, you can remain steady. Repeat these words until they become part of you. Everything is temporary. I cherish what I have now, and I let it go when it ends. This is the 9th Stoic lesson. Remember, everything is temporary. In this truth lies gratitude, peace, and freedom. Because once you stop clinging to what must pass, you are free to live fully in the only place you ever truly have, this moment. Lesson 10. Let go of ego. Ego is the silent enemy that ruins more lives than poverty or misfortune ever could. It whispers in your ear, "You are too important. You are too special. You are above others. You cannot be questioned. You cannot be corrected." And when you believe this lie, you become blind, blind to truth, blind to growth, blind to wisdom. The Stoics knew, if you want freedom, if you want strength, if you want peace, you must let go of ego. Think of how many people destroy themselves because of pride. They cannot admit they are wrong, so they cling to mistakes until those mistakes consume them. They cannot accept criticism, so they stay weak instead of learning. They cannot step back, so they rush into battles they could have avoided. Ego is not strength. Ego is weakness pretending to be strength. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote to himself, "You are a soul carrying a corpse." He was the most powerful man alive, yet he reminded himself daily that he was mortal, fragile, no different than any other man. If an emperor needed to humble himself, then so do you. Ego demands recognition, but recognition fades. Ego demands victory, but victory is temporary. Ego demands to be first, but even the first are eventually forgotten. What remains when ego falls away? Virtue, character, truth. These do not fade. Letting go of ego does not mean you think less of yourself. It means you see yourself clearly. You are human, no more, no less. You have strengths, yes, but also weaknesses. You have wisdom, but also ignorance. You are capable of great things, but you are also fragile, temporary, mortal. To forget this is to live in illusion. To accept it is to live in reality. Seneca warned, "What difference does it make how much you have? What you do not have amounts to much more." The ego always focuses on what it has, titles, wealth, recognition. But wisdom sees how little that truly means. You may be rich today and poor tomorrow. You may be praised today and hated tomorrow. You may be strong today and sick tomorrow. If your identity rests on ego, you will be destroyed when these things vanish. But if your identity rests on virtue, no loss can touch you. How do you practice this? Start with humility. When someone corrects you, do not resist. Thank them. When you fail, do not hide. Learn. When you succeed, do not boast. Remind yourself that luck and fortune often play a part. When anger rises because your pride feels attacked, pause and ask, is this my ego speaking, or is this truth? Another practice. Remind yourself of your smallness in the universe. Look at the stars at night. Remember how brief your life is compared to eternity. Remember how small your body is compared to the vastness of the sky. Remember that in 100 years, perhaps less, no one will speak your name. Does this depress you? It should not. It should free you, because once you let go of ego, you stop chasing shallow recognition. You stop fearing loss of face. You live for what is right, not for what looks impressive. Ego says, I must be admired. Virtue says, I must do what is just. Ego says, I must be first. Wisdom says, I must act rightly, even if no one sees. Ego says, I cannot be wrong. Truth says, I am always learning. Which voice will you follow? From this day forward, train yourself to see ego as the trap it is. Do not feed it. Do not serve it. Each time it rises, remind yourself, I am not above others. I am a student of life like everyone else. I am mortal. I am passing through. Say it until it becomes part of you. Because when you let go of ego, you become teachable. You become flexible. You become free. No insult can harm you because you do not need to defend an image. No praise can intoxicate you because you do not need approval to live rightly. You will walk steady, humble, strong, untouched by the poison of pride. This is the 10th Stoic lesson. Let go of ego. Humble yourself, not to feel small, but to see clearly. Because when ego falls away, truth, virtue, and wisdom rise in its place. And that, not pride, is the foundation of true strength. Lesson 11. Follow reason, not impulse. Impulse is quick. It shouts. It pushes you to act without thinking. It says, do it now. Don't wait. Don't question. Just react. And most people obey. They spend their lives rushing from one impulse to the next. Anger, fear, desire, greed, like leaves blown around by the wind. But the Stoic does not live this way. The Stoic knows impulse is noise, but reason is the guide. To live well, you must follow reason, not impulse. Think of how many regrets are born from impulse. Words spoken in anger that could never be taken back. Choices made in desire that led to shame. Money wasted in greed that left only emptiness. All of it felt urgent in the moment. All of it felt right at the time. But when the fire cooled, when the dust settled, regret always followed. Why? Because impulse does not care for truth or justice or long-term strength. Impulse only wants satisfaction now. Reason is different. Reason is calm. Reason sees further. Reason asks, is this right? Will this serve me tomorrow? Will this make me stronger or weaker? Impulse looks at the moment. Reason looks at the whole life. Impulse is an animal. Reason is a human being. Which will you choose to follow? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, do not be ruled by impulses. Let reason govern. He was emperor, surrounded by temptations, power, anger, luxury. He could have followed impulse whenever he wished. Yet he wrote daily to remind himself, without reason, he was nothing but a slave in a crown. Here is the truth. Impulses are natural. You cannot stop them from appearing. but you do not have to obey them. A dog obeys impulse. A child obeys impulse. But you are capable of more. You have reason. You have the ability to pause, to think, to choose. That is your freedom. Practice this in small ways. When you feel anger rise, do not speak yet. Ask reason. Will these words help or will they harm? When you crave something, food, pleasure, distraction, pause. Ask reason. Will this serve me or will it weaken me? When fear grips you, do not run. Ask reason. Is the danger real or is it my imagination? This pause is everything. It is the space where reason can step in and guide you. Without it, impulse drags you like a prisoner. With it, you walk as a master. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his impulses." Understand this. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. That is slavery to feeling. Freedom is choosing your actions with wisdom, with reason, with clarity. Freedom is self-mastery. Does this mean you must kill all impulses? No. Impulses can be signals, like emotions. They tell you something. Anger tells you something feels unjust. Desire tells you something feels attractive. Fear tells you something feels dangerous. Listen to the signal, but let reason decide the response. A soldier may feel fear in battle. That is natural. But if he follows impulse, he flees. If he follows reason, he stands firm. He fights. He protects. A man may feel desire for pleasure. That is natural. But if he follows impulse, he indulges until he is weak. If he follows reason, he chooses what strengthens him, what serves his purpose. Reason is your compass. Impulse is only noise. Without reason, you wander. With reason, you walk straight. So from today, make this your law. I will not obey impulse. I will follow reason. Say it each time you feel the pull of anger, fear, or desire. Repeat it until it is instinct. Because once reason becomes your master, regret will leave your life and strength will take its place. This is the 11th Stoic lesson. Follow reason, not impulse. Think before you act. Choose before you obey. Live as a master, not as a slave. Lesson 12. See struggles as training. Most people curse their struggles. They see hardship as punishment, as misfortune, as a cruel interruption to the life they wanted. They say, "Why me? Why now? Why can't life be easier?" But the Stoic does not think this way. The Stoic knows every struggle is training. Every difficulty is a chance to grow stronger. Every challenge is a lesson if you are willing to see it. Epictetus, born a slave and crippled in body, said it clearly. Difficulties show what men are. Struggles reveal you. They strip away comfort, they strip away illusions, and they show your true character. Anyone can seem calm when life is smooth. Anyone can seem wise when nothing tests them. But when hardship comes, that is when the truth is revealed. And if you treat struggles as training, you can use them to build the strongest version of yourself. Think about the athlete. He does not become strong by sitting still. He becomes strong by lifting weights, by running until his muscles burn, by facing resistance every day. To the athlete, pain is not punishment. Pain is training. It is the signal that he is growing. Life works the same way. Struggles are the weights you must lift. They hurt, yes, but they build you if you face them. Now think about the soldier. He does not wait for war to train. He uses every hardship as preparation. Marching in the rain, sleeping in the cold, carrying heavy loads, each struggle prepares him for battle. Life will throw battles at you too: illness, loss, betrayal, failure. If you see them as curses, they will crush you. If you see them as training, they will prepare you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is not just poetry, it is power. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. Each struggle is not the end of your progress. It is the very thing that forces you to progress. Look at your own life. Think of your greatest growth. Did it come from ease or from struggle? Did it come from pleasure or from pain? The truth is always the same. Your strength was born in hardship. The struggles you once cursed are the very things that shaped you into who you are today. So why keep fighting reality? Why keep wishing life were easier? Do not wish for fewer struggles. Wish for greater strength. Do not beg for an easy path. Train yourself to walk the hard one. Here is how to practice this. Each time you face a challenge, stop yourself from saying, "This is unfair." Instead say, "This is training. Life is testing me. This is my chance to grow." If you fail, you learn. If you endure, you become stronger. Either way, you win. When someone offends you, see it as training in patience. When you lose money, see it as training in detachment. When you face fear, see it as training in courage. When you feel pain, see it as training in endurance. Every situation, no matter how harsh, can sharpen you if you choose to let it. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests brave men." The fire is hot, yes. It burns, yes. But it also purifies. It also reveals what is real, what is lasting, what is strong. Your struggles are the fire. You are the gold. So from now on, change your perspective. Stop cursing your challenges. Welcome them. They are your teachers. They are your training ground. They are the weights that will build your mind, your character, your soul. Repeat this to yourself each time hardship comes. This is training. I am being strengthened. Make it your instinct. Make it your shield. Because once you see struggles as training, nothing can defeat you. Every obstacle becomes fuel. Every pain becomes progress. This is the 12th Stoic lesson. See struggles as training. Life is your gym. Hardship is your coach. If you embrace it, if you endure it, if you learn from it, you will become unshakable. You've just discovered 12 Stoic lessons that can free you from being a slave to your emotions. Control your response. Separate facts from opinions. Pause before reacting. Expect life's challenges. Focus only on what's in your control and treat emotions as signals, not commands. Value virtue above happiness. Practice negative visualization. And remember, everything is temporary. Let go of ego. Follow reason over impulse and see every struggle as training. If you live by these lessons, no insult, no fear, no loss, no storm will ever own you again. You will walk through life steady, unshaken, free. Now, I want you to take one more step. Write in the comments, "I am no longer a slave to my emotions." Don't just type words. Make it your declaration, your line in the sand. Each time you repeat it, you carve the truth deeper into your mind. And if you're ready to keep growing, to keep sharpening yourself, hit that subscribe button now. More lessons are coming, and you won't want to miss them.